back in the channel. 2 movie. Thanks for clicking on my video. May be given abundant health and sustenance. In this video, this time, I will bring the plot of a Korean drama called Ha. Without lingering, let's get straight to the storyline. Story begins in 2018, spotted in an abandoned building. A man who has a violent face, along with his pre-Krokanya, are conducting an interrogation to his 3 subordinates, where the ruthless man who is the leader of the thugs looks already irritated, because none of his 3 subordinates want to confess. If the 3 of them spilled the beans to a rival group, until a girl came, which is this drama lalakon called Mok Sol Hee. Sol Hee's arrival to the venue is because it was hired by the chairman, thugs, as psychic to uncover which of the 3 men has betrayed, with his abilities that can to know the truth or not what someone is saying. Sol Hee tried to question the 3 subordinates of the demon, but they were telling the truth if they didn't betray. Seeing the act of Sol Hee that the chairman seemed to believe in, a bald man who is a vice, thugs also said if he doesn't believe in what little girls say like Sol Hee. But the words of the deputy thug turned out to be a lie, which of course can be detected by Mok Sol Hee asked back, is the deputy? Thugs are the ones who leak the secrets of the group. Found the question that people are stubborn. The deputy thug also tried to dodge, but Sol Hee with his ability to know if the deputy thugs are the ones who have betrayed their own group. Even the vice thug who was limping turned out to be pretending not to be suspected. Knowing all that, the chief thug immediately told all his troops to hit his deputy.
이게 뭔데? 뭔가 있나? 아 형님, 저 처음 보는 꼬맹이 말을 못 재밌습니까?
While on the way home, so he saw a man walking while carrying a shirt covered in blood. But because he doesn't want to interfere in other people's business, so he also honored it. The next day, when Sol Hee just came out of the motel he lived in, Shiva shipment with Bonya condition is waiting for Sol Hee for revenge. Fortunately, because of the condition of the representative who denied Sol Hee can escape to catch up, the chase arrived at a station where Sol Hee went straight into a bus to Seoul to avoid the pursuit of the representative. Looks very vindictive to Sol Hee. But the bus that Sol Hee was riding never left because there was a man who was scolding a young man for having abandoned his sister. With anxiety because the deputy thug who almost found him, Sol Hee also tried to break up the fight by claiming to be a girlfriend from the young man. Until because of that, the angry man left and Sari was able to survive. Long story short, 5 years have passed. Now Sol Hee with his special ability is known among the rich who want to hire his services. Even now Sol Hee has been hired by a rich aunt named Ji to detect her Gabian boyfriend's lies. Sol Hyang ability. You can detect someone's lies by listening directly. The words of the target initially felt if girlfriend Brondonggi is an honest person, love Jia not because of his wealth. But when one art geek came to give a banquet, Sol Hee realized if Brondonggi, his girlfriend, turns out to be having an affair with the art, even now, it's him that know the truth of it. Sol Hee then told Ji if his popcorn girlfriend had cheated on him with her own art, even the art is Hamidan. Hearing that, Ji was angry and immediately went berserk uncontrollably. Felt like his job was done. Sol Hee then went accompanied by one of the assistants named Hyun, where on the way, Hyun, who felt if Sol Hee never performed rituals or gives to his people like conventional shamans in general, then ask you that. So he then said if he was just pretending to be a shaman for each of his clients to trust him and don't have to perform rituals. let alone giving offerings, because it is an act of idolatry. Solely then told a story. If he has a special ability that can detect other people's lies, is not possessed by the spirit, but the ability was obtained from childhood, even when she was in her mother's womb. Where at that time his mother was very crazy about money, praying so hard that So Hee, his son, has a special ability to make money and wanted to be granted his mother's prayer. So he even prayed. In the three religious beliefs that are temples, the church and also the temple, until when So Hee was born. Himself has a knack for detecting other people's lies, but it was initially troublesome for himself because it was considered strange by his friends, and So Hee felt if his ability is curse, but his mother, who eyes money, told So Hee to utilize So Hee's ability, which is to become a prosecutor in order to later have a lot of money. Until when high school, So Hee realized that his ability could be used to looking for a lot of money by pretending to be a shaman for rich people to hire. To smooth out his plan, So Hee also founded a cafe called Tarot Cafe so that her identity as a shaman girl could be safe. Sin then transferred to a man who was driving a sport car, where on the way, the man was intercepted by police officers who were conducting raids, even though he did nothing wrong, visible from the face covered with a mask. The man seemed to tremble with fear when the police officer questioned him. Even this man seems traumatized when dealing with the police, where when this man would take off his mask, it turned out that he is the man who accidentally bumped into So Hee while on the bus, used to be named Kim Do-ha, whereas Kim Do-ha worked as a compressor or music maker. When this name is very loved, because of his composed song sung by an artist named C. Always be trending #1. Even the name Kim Do-ha itself is bigger than C. Artist that sings his song. But no one knows identity and face of Kim Do-ha, because Kim Do-ha always keep it a secret, and there are only two people who know the real face of Kim Do-ha, which is So Hyun, singers who always sing songs created by Kim Do, and also the CEO of his record label company called The Cat, and so didn't want her face to be known. Kim Do-ha was never present at the award show that he always won, and always represented by SEO. Make paramedia race around, trying to find out the real face of Kim Do-ha by following Sion, who knows where Kim Do-ha lives. And in that way, finally a reporter can figure out Kim Do-ha's place and try to take a picture of Kim Do-ha's real face, because it will be making headlines later. Reporter itu sampai memata-matai kediaman Kim Do-ha menggunakan sebuah drone, membuat Kim Do-ha harus pindah rumah, di mana Deok-chan sebagai temannya menyarankan Kim Do-ha untuk tinggal di sebuah apartemen terpencil miliknya, sebab dengan cara itu para media tak akan mengetahui keberadaan Kim Do-ha. Akan tetapi tanpa Kim Do-ha sadari ketika dirinya pindah ke apartemen yang diberikan Deok-chan, di lingkungan itu tengah terjadi keribuhan, sebab masyarakat yang berada di sana sedang dibuat gusar karena ada seorang pria misterius yang memakai masker selalu menarget para wanita. Bahkan asisten So Hee pun bernama Cassandra hampir menjadi korbannya, dimana ketika Kim Do-ha keluar untuk mencari makan menggunakan masker, dirinya mah disangka sebagai si pria yang selalu menarget wanita karena sama-sama menggunakan masker, membuat Kim Do-ha yang tak tahu apa-apa kini menjadi sasaran kemarahan setiap orang yang resah. Untung saja datanglah So Hee membantu Kim Do-ha seperti dulu.
범인 아니라고요?
응?
뭘 믿고요?
Di mana So Hee bersama Cassandra asistennya mengatakan jika orang yang selalu menarget wanita bukanlah pria yang sedang mereka tangkap saat ini, karena menurut Cassandra, pria misterius yang mencoba mengadabahnya memiliki perawakan yang berbeda, serta dirinya sempat menyemprotkan parfum miliknya kepada pria misterius itu. Mendengar itu, setiap orang yang berada di sana langsung melepaskan Kim Do-ha dan mencari si pria misterius yang asli, yang kemungkinan adalah salah satu di antara mereka dengan mencium aroma parfum milik Cassandra. hingga didapatilah seorang pria yang memiliki aroma parfum menyengat serta sebuah masker. Cassandra yang sangat kesal langsung menghabak si pria itu sampai tak sadarkan diri. Sementara Kim Do-ha yang merasa berhutang budi berterima kasih kepada Sol Hee dan langsung pergi dari sana, yang mana ternyata Kim Do-ha dan juga Sol Hee tinggal bersebelahan di apartemen yang sama. Saat di apartemennya, Sol Hee yang mengingat kejadian tadi merasa ada sesuatu yang aneh, sebab pria yang tadi ia selamatkan begitu ketakutan ketika orang-orang akan membuka maskernya. Sementara Kim Do-ha sendiri untuk mengisi kegabutan di lingkungan barunya, dirinya bekerja di sebuah kafe sebagai pemain piano dan juga pelayan. Dengan kemampuan yang sangat lihai bermain alat musik terutama piano, salah seorang pelanggan wanita di sana langsung kapok-kapok mendengarkan permainan piano Kim Do-ha, di mana dengan agresifnya si wanita itu meminta kepada Kim Do-ha untuk melepaskan kacamata hitamnya. Tetapi Kim Do-ha seolah tak tertarik dan hanya ngaleos begitu saja. Hingga ketika waktu semakin malam, Sol Hee yang merupakan penggila bola akut terlihat sedang bersiap menunggu pertandingan bola antara kesebelasan Manchester United yang akan menyambut musuh bebuyutannya yaitu Liverpool. Hingga ketika tim kesayangannya Manchester United memasukkan bola ke dalam gawang Liverpool, Sol Hee pun berteriak dengan sangat kencang, hingga karena teriakan itu membangunkan Kim Do-ha yang sedang tertidur. Kim Do-ha yang nyatanya juga seorang maniak bola sekaligus penggemar Liverpool langsung menyalakan ponselnya untuk menonton pertandingan. Dan ketika babak pertama selesai, terlihat seorang kurir yang membawa 2 kresek makanan pesanan dari Kim Do-ha dan juga Sol Hee. Tetapi ternyata pesanan keduanya tertukar, yang mana mau tak mau mereka harus bertemu untuk menukarkan makanan mereka masing-masing. Di mana kini keduanya saling balas-membalas teriakan ketika tim kesayangan mereka mencetak gol. Keesokan harinya di kafe miliknya bisa menerima klien yang ingin menyewa jasanya. Sol Hee nampak didatangi oleh seorang pria yang seorang artis yang ternyata seorang komposer musik seperti Kim Do-ha bernama Pak Moon Jin. Kedatangan Pak Moon Jin ke kafe Sol Hee tak lain untuk menyewa Sol Hee untuk mendeteksi kebohongan seorang pria yang tak lain adalah Kim Do-ha. Sebab Kim Moon Jin ini sangat iri kepada Kim and was eager to drop his name. So Hee, who still doesn't know if Kim, the famous composer, is his new neighbor, seems to agree with Kim Woo-jin's offer. Long story short, Sol Hee was already at the restaurant where Kim Do-ha about to meet with Kim Do-ha, where Sol Hee was assigned to stay next to the room and just listen to Kim Do-ha's words, whether Kim Do-ha is lying or not. When Kim Do-ha gives pertanyaan can bring down Kim Do-ha, but when Salehi listened to all of Kim's words of prayer, none of the prayers can solidify the detection of whether it's a lie or not. It makes Salehi curious because he has never experienced anything like that. After Kim Do-ha left, Sol Hee then called for Kim Do-ha and told Ji-jun to chase Kim Do-ha's car, even if they lose it. And when Sol Hee walked, he accidentally met Kim Do-ha, who was insinuating because of the effects of the evil water that Kim Do-ha gave him. Jin Sol Hee with curiosity then tried to approach Kim Do and innocently even took off the mask worn by Kim Do, that I'm not even sure what to do. It turns out that Kim Do-ha is none other than the new neighbor.
몰래 와주셔야 돼요. 그놈 웃기도 않은 신비주의라.
Kim Do-ha, who woke up after making eye contact with So Hee, immediately hurriedly put the mask back on and quickly left So Hee. And while at her house, Kim Do-ha, also with a feeling of anxiety, his identity will be disseminated by So. Then, remembering, if Sol Hee is a woman who 5 years ago once helped him when he got into trouble while inside the bus while Sol Hee at his house, now feels curious. Why do standard people, and as rich as Kim Do-ha even lives in a small apartment? Until the next day, Do-ha even met Sol Hee again, making him clumsy and trying to avoid Sol Hee. But in the end, Kim Do-ha ventured to ask, did Sol Hee know something after seeing his face? Very innocently, Sol Hee also replied if he did not know nothing after seeing Do-ha's face, other than the handsomeness that was not her type. But I never got around to finishing my words. Suddenly, there came a man who looked suspicious. See the man coming towards Sol Hee. Kim Do-ha. He immediately gave his body to protect Sol Hee. But it turned out that the man just wanted to ask for help by borrowing mobile phones as well as a small amount of money that will later be refunded. Of course, it was not considered by Kim Do-ha, but different from So Hee. Where can he know if the man is not lying? Without thinking long, then lent him a cell phone and gave him money. Mok Do-ha, astonished because of the kindness of So Hee, Shin then moved to see the famous idol who is now seen performing, where Sian suddenly fell and had to be rushed to the hospital. Sian is a woman who is very infatuated with Kim Do and really hoped that if Do-ha accept her feelings. It looks when Sian is so happy. Prayer just contacted him to ask about Sian's condition, while Dion, assistant Sol Hee, is a big fan of Sian, who were willing to wait outside the hospital to know Sian's health condition only, until luck came to Ji Ha-yeon at the moment. He would eat ramen at a convenience store, because as Sian's rabid fans, Ji-hyun can tell if the person who is eating ramen in front of him, she is his favorite idol, even in disguise. Sian, who knows his identity, can be known by look as Jaehyun to be quiet and given a dog or an egg. As her gratitude to Ji, of course, Jaehyun, he was so happy to be given a gift by his favorite idol. While in his residence, Do-ha, who was making music, then heard if the door, his apartment, banged by someone, and when Do-ha opened her door, looks a mothers who asked for money, where this mother is Soli's mother, who even thought that is Soli's apartment, until soon Soli came and was so embarrassed to see behavior. His mother was like that, but the mother even acted ignorant, and even scolded Soli for not transferring his monthly money. With great emotion, Soli, he gave me the money his mother asked for. Then Soli too, go into the house and reflect on your behavior. His mother always acted like that. Before long, Kim Do-ha also talked to Soli from her balcony, said if he overheard the cruel words of his mother Soli for a little. Entertaining Soli, Do-ha also said if he has the same fate as Soli, because his mother didn't seem to love him, create feeling Soli little cured by words. Yeah, the next day, when Soli will leave for meet clients who hired his services, Soli met Do-ha again, where the two now greet each other with sweet smiles. Even though Do-ha was still wearing her black mask, after that, So Hee was seen in a restaurant because it's rented by a woman who wants to know whether his girlfriend loves him or not. Of all, the question asked by the woman who hired his services to her lover, no, there is none. Which, honesty, until after their duties are completed and paid for. Soli pun. Intend to go, but the woman who hired his services instead said if he would survive with his lover, even though he had lead to. Initially, Soli assumed that his client is a stupid woman for wanting to survive, until Soli saw the fact if the woman's lover was lie just to give you a birthday surprise to the woman who hired his services, make Soli Hee feel guilty because with his ability to detect lies almost made a relationship is ruined. For that, before leaving, Salehi also returned the money given by the woman earlier. While walking, Soli also recalled when together, his ex-girlfriend named Kang Min broke up because when Kang Min was caught lying, where after seeing the incident, Soli felt if it was possible, Kang Min, his ex, lied because there's something I don't want, known by Soli. Remembering incident. It makes the husband sad and feel sick. Have an ability that can knowing other people's lies when they talk. Stress. With all told, Soli, I saw a place lying at night where he went straight in to get rid of the dizziness he felt. By steadfast to the evil water, where there were men who saw Soli trying to seize the moment. When Soli Abu. Luckily, Kim Do-ha, who happens to work there, certainly does not allowing that, and immediately makes Soli the spirit of campling, talking to and fro because it's grand. But on the street, Soli came back to his senses and asked for prayers to take her to a restaurant because he was very hungry. Strangely, Kim Do-ha even obey the wishes of So Hee until finally them eat together. And when they went back to her apartment, there Soli saw two reporters who were looking for where Kim Do-ha lives, because Two reporters believe that Kim Do-ha lived there because earlier Sian came to their Soli. That is not want to Kim Do-ha's identity revealed himself trying cover the face of Kim Do-ha, who is now not wearing a mask, in a way jumping up and down. Then swiftly put on Kim prayer mask and immediately brought Kim a prayer to enter. But the two reporters did not give up and immediately followed Soli until when Kim Do-ha will enter his apartment. Himself, who is liberal or forgetful, even forgot the password of the door, making Soli Wit forced to make Kim Do-ha enter her apartment to avoid reporters, where the husband, who did not expect to have guests, immediately clean up her scattered feminine items. Awkwardness again occurs when the time is getting late, when commercials on TV showed commercials for strong drugs, making both of them clumsy with situations they didn't expect. Shortly, So Hee, I saw a Korean drama. It tells the story of a girl who has special abilities because I can see ghosts. But when you're with a man, the special ability was instantly absent. Make So Hee think, if it's possible, it can happen to him if he continues with Do-ha. And soon the sound of the bell rang when opened. It turned out to be Hwang Min, ex-girlfriend Soli, who happened to come because of complaints from residents. To repel the reporter earlier, Hwang Min, who never thought he could meet Soli again, looked so surprised when he saw Do-ha's shoes, was in front of Soli's apartment. Don't want to interfere, Hwang Min immediately said goodbye. While Kim Do-ha, who heard the conversation, told Soli to explain the actual circumstances so that there will be no misunderstanding, and left immediately because the situation outside was now safe. Until the next day, Soli met Hwang Min again at the cafe, hers to try to explain last night's circumstances. But I didn't get a chance to explain it. Hwang Min first apologized, making Soli remember the bitter memories he went through when he used to parted ways with Hwang Min, because after breaking up with her, Hwang Min suddenly moved and haven't informed Soli in almost 3 years. Hwang Min just keep apologizing about it, with reason if he is afraid to disturb Soli if Soli have been in relationships with other people. Not long after, Kim Do-ha suddenly came, wherewith feeling upset. Soli even introduced Do-ha to Min as his girlfriend. Do-ha, who heard it, initially wanted to be frank, but looking at the code from So Hee, Kim Do-ha just said yes to everything So Hee said to Hwang Min, then left holding hands. Feel like I've been helped by Kim Do-ha. When the night, Soli also gave a message if he waiting for Do-ha in the elevator to have dinner together. As a form of gratitude, Do-ha, who usually does not want to be invited by anyone, now he even accepted Soli's invitation to have dinner together. But it didn't last long. Do-ha get a message from Sean, saying if he was going to do something dangerous, because Do-ha no longer wants to work with him in the making of the album. Afraid that something bad would happen to Seal, Do-ha village was very hasty and then left. But as if it were swept away by the bad memories of his past, Do-ha immediately experienced panic disorder, making him weak. Soli, who saw it, tried to calm Do-ha. He said he would drive the car. When I got to where, Sian said, with great emotion, Sian dragged to his car and immediately called the Chan to bring Sian. While Sian, I was so surprised to see Soli in the prayer car, for he knows prayer is a very close person. While Soli, who heard Sian's words, and also Do-ha, realized, if Sian turns out to be lying, we'll do boot. Sian did it solely to attract Kim Do-ha's attention, after Dick Chan came to take Sian home. Do-ha, who was seen still having an anxious disorder, then fell asleep, until when I got to the apartment parking lot, Soli heard when he was delirious if he didn't commit murder. But strangely, Soli even detected the words Do-ha. But so he thinks, if Do-ha may be dreaming of killing, so annoyed with SE, but without So Hee, no! Do-ha in the past was involved in murdering her ex-lover. And the man who scolded her on the bus was none other than was the older brother of his former lover, Do-ha. Soli, who saw Do-ha fever, attentively prepared the medicine and everything else until, because both are exhausted, Soli fell asleep beside Do-ha. And the next morning, Soli intended to leave But suddenly, Doha wake up, where Doha with different expressions even asked Zol not to have anything to do with him anymore, make about high upset, because I feel that prayer should thank him, where shortly afterwards problems arose when someone who uses a mask, like a prayer, making a confession on the internet. If most of the songs on the company's label, the Chan plagiarized the work of a small comma, claimed this song belongs to them. Even this man admitted that he was Kim Do-ha. Of course, the thing, it makes the media really want to know the real face of Kim Do-ha. More and more flocked to as soon as possible, knowing the real face of Kim Do-ha, while Di-chan couldn't do anything. Because it must be resolved by Kim Noah himself. Because the pressure of society is very high now. So Lee, who saw the news, he was so worried. Moreover, Doha suddenly disappeared, not in his apartment, until Salehi meet with Dek Chan, where Dek Chan said, if Doha used to have a hard time to make him an introvert, but Dek Chan said, Doha's personality slowly changes after meeting with Soli. For that, Dek Chan asked Soli to be able to persuade Doha in order to solve the problem, because if left unchecked will make a good name, Doha dear. Hearing all that, Soli then looked for prayer to the nightclub, exactly used to meet with Doha. But there, the cafe owner said that he didn't want to see anyone. But Soli, he said he would wait until he meets Doha, until after a long wait. Doha, who does not know if Soli waiting for him, made segment when Soli came to him. But Doha, trying to be ignorant, made Soli angry and told, if now everyone is talking about Do because of a problem, Doha, who does not know the problem, instead returned to being ignorant by saying, if the problem will also be solved by Dek Chan. Hearing that, Soli was angry and immediately said, if Doha must mature and solve his own problems, without waiting for someone else to take care of her personal matters. After saying that, Shalehi then left, while Doha, who heard the words of Shalehi, then recalled when his mother never noticed him. Only music always makes his heart calm. After that, Doha, who saw video footage of people claiming to be her, carefully Doha sees something, which is the number of the music series that's on there. With his experience, he could also find out the address of the person. For that, Doha immediately rushed there to meet people claiming to be him, which turned out to be that person. He is a young man who has the same goals as himself, which is to be a famous composer, but her song was stolen by Kimugi instead. Be aware of that problem. Prayer is not as usual, and confessed if he is the original prayer, Kim, and promised to take care of the young man's problem. As long as the young man admits that he is not Kim's prayer. Which one? When Dek Chan and his team were negotiating the matter, suddenly the young man came while apologizing and promised to admit his guilt. That shortly, Doha came while saying in front of everyone, if he is the real Kim Doha, until when Doha will open the mask. The Chan immediately took Doha to his room, where there when the Doha will go. Suan then came, prayer that now no longer wants, makes Sion keep hoping for him. Then said, if he never had feelings for Sion, and just regards Sion as a colleague and friend. Until soon, the problem was over, because the young man made a confession. But trouble may come back, because the Gauze-man, his ex-Doha first, seen reading the news, that and vengefully planned something, while the relationship between Kim Prayer and also Soli is now entering a new chapter, because the Prayer is confident to take off his mask in public, and did not forget to give a sweet smile to Soli. Even now, Doha want to accompany Soli to drink ginger water, although Soli always drunk and incocampling after drunk, until the next day. Soli, who just woke up, remembers when he was hanging out, talking to and fro, and committing shameful acts in front of Doha. And soon the door of his apartment rang, which was a prayer. And the purpose is to give So Hee a hangover. So Hee was still ashamed of her actions, when Abo then apologized and promised to clean the white shirt belonging to the prayer he dirtied last night, where with passion So Hee trying to clean the shirt Doha, and after it clears, So Hee also met Doha with the excuse of giving Doha shirt. But actually, So Hee now really want to meet Doha because it makes him excited. On the other side, it turns out that the closeness of So Hee and also prayer is seen by Kang Min, which turns out Kang Min still have feelings for So Hee from the first until now. To So Hee, who was flowery because he could be close to Nua, suddenly his mother told So Hee to come because he wanted to introduce So Hee to her rich husband who has child of So Hee's age. So Hee, who knows the character of his mother is only after wealth, even messed up his mother's plan. Made his mother angry and immediately broke through So Hee's tape. Where there So Hee, who was fed up with attitude, her mother then asked whether his mother loved him or not. Why that question? Of course his mother did not answer, because his mother already knew she couldn't lie to So Hee, and even continued to give in strongly insulting So Hee as a shaman girl. Where the thing is, it was heard by Kim praying, who came there out of worry, to So Hee, cause it's raining outside. So Hee, who saw Doha, of course very ashamed of his fate, treated like it was by his mother, while accompanied by heavy rain. So Hee also said to Doha, if all circumstances had happened to him due to his ability, and any relationship with prayer will not work, because his ability is a curse. Prayer that does not understand then asks what is meant by So Hee. While leaving, So Hee also said, if he can detect someone's lies when they... Doha, who heard it then, recalled his encounter with So Hee and conclude, if what So Hee said wasn't a lie, but clearly, according to Doha, So Hee is a good person. Where the next day he then returned, meets So Hee at his cafe to help So Hee clean up his cafe, which is still pagu. So Hee, who saw Doha, came then asked, is Doha not afraid of him? Where Doha answered, it doesn't matter to him. Because he knew the So Hee he knew had a good personality. Heard that So Hee was happy, cause for the first time, there are people who understand their shortcomings. In the midst of togetherness that is now getting intense between So Hee and also Kim Preya. So Hee had 3 guests who claimed not to know each other, but the 3 planned to take down a bakery that is in front of So Hee's cafe. So Hee, who didn't know their plan, trying to figure out through their lies. But the 3 people immediately left. Where shortly, a post demonizing the bakery in front of the So Hee cafe directly viral on social media. The shop was instantly empty of visitors. Kim Doo-ha with So Hee, who heard the complaints of the owner of the bread, who claimed innocence. Then plans to help him by way of investigating. The 3rd plan was to do all that. Where after investigating, it turned out that the 3 people wanted to control the bakery, because it is strategic to be a service bureau business. After knowing this, Salehi together, Doha then say everything. Where to know that the bakery owner too immediately attacked the 3 people using flour, made all 3 of them blunt. After that, the bakery owner invited So Hee and also Kim Doha to eat together as a neighbor area there that is never done before. Where for the first time Kim Doo-ha is now confident, introducing herself as Kim Doo-ha. Of course, everyone who was there didn't believe it. I don't think if Kim Doo-ha is joking, while Seon, who still does not give up, get love prayer, seen coming to the neighborhood there. But damn. People there realized the arrival of Seon, who is an idol, and in droves asking for a photo together, makes Seon uncomfortable. Until it comes again Hoon with moment, Yeon Town took Seon away. Soeon's arrival turned out to meet So Hee, and asked So Hee to move and no longer deal with Kim Doo, which of course So Hee rejected. Until Suan accidentally even blurted out, if Kim Do has been involved in a murder case in the past, and those words were detected by Salehi as honesty, make him curious and want to ask directly to Doha, where Doha is now meeting her mother. And we finally found out all this time Doha always wear a mask, because told by his mother now, his mother told him to move to Germany because her mom was scared, because the political image that he had built was damaged. Doha, who heard that, of course, is very angry, because her mother is only concerned about herself, and then left his mother. After that, Doha then went to meet Soli, who had been waiting for him, where So Lee was curious about Sean's words earlier, then asked it directly to Do-ha, where Do-ha answered if he wasn't involved in the murder, but this time, words Do-ha instead detected by So-hee as lies made So-hee scared. But having gotten a chance to talk, Dik-chan came to bring a prayer, where Dik-chan is worried. Sean was reckless and said all the past prayers to the media for the good of prayer. Dik-chan also asked for prayer to move back, because he felt if So Lee is not good for prayer. But Do-ha did not comply with the Chan's request, and said if he fully believes in Xiaomi, and so he who does not, he will say anything about his past, while So-hee, who is now getting confused, trying to find out about the murder, and So-hee, too, found an article about the old Do-ha ever brought in police officers for questioning, but suddenly, Do-ha was simply released citing lack of evidence. Until when they meet again, Do-ha feel if So-lee behaved differently after hearing his confession of not committing murder. So he spilled hot coffee on the hand of prayer. Make So-hee feel guilty and try to compress the hand of prayer, where, in the moment, So-lee is telling the truth, if he has been lately. Find out about the murder involving Do-ha. Do-ha, who heard it, then concluded So-lee detects his non-murderous confession is a lie. So-lee, who doesn't believe, then asks for prayers to say one more time whether prayer involved murder or not, where prayer then says once again if he didn't commit murder. At first, the confession of prayer was not detected by So-lee as a lie, but soon So-lee heard if what the prayer said is a lie. But the unbelieving So-lee asks for prayers to evade and reason anything, but prayer goes straight away. Therefore, their relationship is now
저였어요. 나
While
아니에요.
on the other, his mother prayed for the election of council members, seen meeting Dik-chan to ask. Dik-chan asked a prayer to move to Germany, where the conversation was apparently overheard by Hung, the man who is eyeing a prayer for revenge, while So Hee. Now, the day seems upset because of its awkward relationship with prayer. He still works on schedule, which now So-lee has to go to the hospital to see his client, so he accidentally saw Hwang Min, who was doing controls in the cancer room. So he who saw it then tried to ask the nurse with pretending to be Hwang Min's guardian, until So-hee was hit by the unexpected if during Hwang Min apparently did health control for 3 years because of the cancer he had, make So-hee conclude that's the reason Hwang Min disappeared after breaking up with him. Until after meeting with his clients, his soul runs into Hwang Min, where Hwang Min tried to hide a paper as if the paper didn't want to be seen by Hwang Min, who still has feelings for then invites So-hee to dinner together, where So-hee said yes to Hwang Min. After that, So-lee, then contacted by Dik-chan, who asked him to meet at his office, which one, upon arrival, So-lee even felt belittled when Dik-chan gave a letter of agreement so that So-lee doesn't talk about US pass in exchange for money. So-hee, who felt insulted, then immediately left, while Do-ha, who knows it, immediately came without wearing a mask to ask Dik-chan up, doing all that to his soul. Dik-chan, who couldn't lie, then said if it was all his mother's orders, Don himself, who is worried that his image will be ugly, make Do-ha feel guilty to So-lee, where So-lee is having dinner with Hwang Min. Shali, who no longer wants to lie, then says if he already knows if Hwang Min during it is struggling with cancer. For that, Shale also asked whether the cancer was diagnosed when they were still dating. Hwang Min then answered honestly if that's the reason for deciding So-lee, because he does not want to make So-lee sad and also inconvenient later. So-lee, who heard it, can only cry while apologizing, because during this has been prejudiced against Hwang Min, until Hwang Min also invited So-lee to return, where So-lee apologizes if now his feelings belong to people. Another is prayer. Salihi, who now can no longer hold back his feelings, later go to the prayer shelter for a while. whether So Lee met Hwang Min, who was undercover to be a security guard. So Lee, who has the ability to detect lies, then realized the lie. Hwang Min, who plans to do something to do it. When Hwang Min was reprimanded by the original security guard there, So Lee tried to call Do-ha and say everything, make Do-ha worry, and rushed out without using his mask. Which is why Do-ha almost met with Hwang. Luckily, So Lee hurriedly brought Do-ha to graze up there. So Lee also said, if he fully believes to the Do-ha who did not commit murder, and no longer trusted his abilities, because he believes in Do-ha. Hearing that, Do-ha smiled happily. Do-han then took So Lee to his house and said, if what So Lee is doing is very dangerous, because of the possibility Han could recognize So Lee because he had met on the bus. So Lee, who heard it, was amazed, because Do-han still remembered the incident, which is their first meeting. So Lee, who now knows that Hwang Min's Choi MGI's older brother, ex-Do-han, boom, then said, like what Im-Guy used to be, and why did Do-han break up with him? Until involved in the MJ murder case. Do-han then told if it used to be in high school, himself dating NG, because NG has a kind personality, but it changed on school graduation day when he and NG had two. Do-han studied music in Seoul. Every time we meet, NG always be jealous and ask Do-han to keep coming in the midst of his busy life. Even NG dared to open Do-han's phone just to reply every message from the woman who messaged her on social media, and because it makes God sick, until the incident. It happened, which coincided with the South Korean national team competing in the World Cup, where MJ was overreacting as if God was his obsession, even more extreme. MJ trying to do bunir before God, when God, who was fed up, asked to break up with reason, if he already has another girlfriend, which is exactly what happened in Shinawa when So Lee his kalabatsu, a young man carrying a blood shirt. Where after leaving on that last night with the next day Do-han was approached by police officers because MJ was declared missing. And Do-han was the last one with But back then, due to lack of evidence, and MGI's body was never found. The case was also declared but even so, in his heart, Do-han kept feeling guilty for feeling all it was caused by her. Heard Do-in's story. So he also understands why is his ability to detect if Do-han is lying, not hugging MJ, because in the deepest heart, Do-han himself continues to feel guilty. Until when the night gets darker and colder, Do-han, who is afraid of his Hwang, is still hanging around looking for him outside, then told So Lee to stay at his house until Yuan happened, because they both stayed up late to watch their favorite ball. Until that moment, the malfight almost happened. But it didn't happen because they were distracted by the football team. Watch enter the ball. But even so, both can smile happily after their relationship had been strained. Until when the morning comes, the two decided to go have a picnic together, where they are in the romantic moments created. In the end, they both expressed their feelings, until the argument that had been delayed was finally carried out. But behind the happiness that is now God and also difficult to feel without them knowing, problem came back. Because one of the televisions is now lifting news about the murder that occurred to Eun-gi 5 years ago, which time it had the single suspect named Kim Sin. Although the media still doesn't know if Kim Sun-ju is a Do-han, the mysterious composer, whose face is currently unknown to the general public. But Temps Min, who saw the news, was instantly shocked with panic, because the proclaimed Senju is a So Lee lover, as well as the Hwang-gi, where he directly met the TV host to find out where Kim Sung-ju's current home address is. The anchor is not found out, then said a rumor that he knew but not yet reported if Kim Sin-jo is Kim Do-han. And one way to find out Kim Do-han's address, ask Seon directly, because according to the anchor, only Seon knows where Kim Do-han lives. Where when Seon finished the gig, he was immediately taken by Hwang-gi to tell Do-han's address, but Seon who knows who Hwang Hee is, and also his purpose, didn't tell Hwang Hee. But Hwang Hee has other plans. By contacting Do-han using Se-hyun's cell phone, heard Se-hyun was being held captive by Hwang. Da also agreed to meet as long as Hwang Hee released a secret, because it has nothing to do with him. Which one? By himself. He came to the place, Hwang Hee said. Hwang Hee, who looked so eager to kill Do, directly kicked Do-han until he fell, and immediately asked, why did Do-han have the heart to kill his sister, and even though his sister loved him so much, even considered Do-han as his dream. Do-han then answered, if he hadn't committed the murder of Ann, didn't even think that MG, the woman he loved that night, would really kill. To hear that explanation, Hwang also looked softened. But considering that his sister was killed due to Do, Hwang's anger appeared again, and immediately took the knife he prepared to obey the Do. When the knife was a little more about to hit the Do, Kang Min suddenly came to stop Hwang. Where To? After Kang Min found out if Do-han was involved in Amji's death herself, who are worried about So Hee, endlessly continued to investigate about the murder case until Kang Min was secretly watching Do-han from afar and saw when Do-han came alone to the Hwang Hee place. But when Kang Hwang Hee can escape, for that Kang Min also warned Do-han not to endanger So Hee from the problem, along with Hwang Hee. The next day, So Hee, who visited Doan's apartment, was made worried when he saw Doan's bruised, handsome face. Do-han, who didn't want to lie in the end, told what happened last night to So Hee, including himself, who was assisted by Kang Min. Where to hear that, So Hee also asked Kang Min to meet to thank him. But Kang Min warned So Hee to stay away from Doan for a moment, because of the DEA situation that Hwang is still eyeing. While Da was seen meeting Dek Chen, where the goal is to ask Dek Chen in order to cancel his contract, because the situation is known to the media. It will harm and ruin the agency's reputation, which the request was agreed by the Chen on condition. If the news has subsided, then Do-han must return. And when the night in between the problems that befell him, Do-han can still feel happy when with full spirit So Hee, always cheering Do-han on. Shin then moved to a convenience storekeeper named Yo, where he aspires to be a comedian, famous like Doan, and very ambitious to achieve that, because Youngji, I have a brother who will soon debut as an idol, named the ETA stage, where even though now Younggi only work odd jobs as a cashier, mini market, but his musical talent is very strong. It Do-han realized, I accidentally saw the music I made. Even Do-han offered himself to guide Hwang Hee when the street music festival was held, where Youngest, assisted by Do-han, managed to win the festival. Even at that moment, Do-han feels his life is now more perfect, because there is a So Hee figure that always makes him happy. But in the midst of that happiness, problem re-emerged, when the three men who were digging the ground found a skull in the mountains of the village, where formerly Hagen used to live, and when the police commanding officer, who happened to Kang Min, was also there to check it out. This police commander, without Kang Min's knowledge, hiding a ring that was in that body. Back to Do-han. After the festival ended, he was with Song Hee and all the residents of the apartment, was seen doing a small celebration for Youngji. Which one is there? Do-han also told about himself, who is Kim Do-han, the composer of a famous song whose face is unknown, where the confession made Jueng both surprised and proud. Make him whine to Do-han in order he wants to be his mentor in music, where Younggi requests it was rejected by Do-han because it feels if Younggi's natural talent in music is truly great. But Younggi, who is very idolizing Do-han, endlessly whining, even when Hwang Hee was already drunk and they complain more or less. Younggi went into Do-in's apartment and slept there, where it certainly disturbs the intimacy of Do-han and also Soo. For that, Do-han also used Hyunji's phone, then contact Younggi's brother to pick up Young. On the other side, it turns out that the body of the skull found earlier was none other than the body of M, which when forensic officers autopsied him, the body was none other than the body of the MD who died due to impact of a fulcrum. Make Kang Min again question Do-han's statement. cause of information. Do-han was the last person to meet MJ before MJ was declared lost. To that end, Kang-min went back to Soli and said everything, and asked, does Soli detect lies from Do-han's words about matters? But Soli even said if Do-han told the truth, even as if he didn't care about doing Kuan with Do. In a different place, C. The police commander who had hidden a ring from the body of MD, seen with his was Waznya face, called the mother to say everything. Hearing that thing, Mother Do-han so shocked and scared, where Do-han's mother then asked a group of police to do something before Do-han later called back for questioning. Short story, because Kim Do-han, who was recalled for questioning by police investigators in a dog murder case. His real name came to the surface, as well as his identity as a famous comic is now known by the media. Made a Hong who initially doubted whether Do-han killed his sister or not. Now that Engi's body has been found, made Hong even more eager for revenge. After finding an apartment that Do-han lived in, with a Hong also looks ready. And when he saw Do-han about to walk into his apartment, without thinking, Hong immediately wrote, Do-han. But it turns out it's not a Do-han, but Etan, her brother, Young-gi, who intends to meet Do-han in his apartment. Do-han, who saw it, then tried to stop the present Young, trying to attack him, until the struggle happened between them. So he, who saw it, immediately contacted Kang-min, where Kang-min, who happened to be near from there, immediately and successfully subdued Hongi to Kaptia. Another problem then comes, because now the media is reporting that Kim Do-han is a famous composer, is a MG killer. Make the Chan Trues get a call because it went viral straight on social media, which of course has an impact on the management of his artists. God himself doesn't think much of it now, because he is now more focused on A, who, because of his mistake, must be the victim of the wrong target and is now in the hospital, where, unlike before, who always fear when surrounded by the media, now Do-han even act gentle by saying, if he was not the one who had hugged MJ, and promised to reveal everything. So he who saw it was certainly very worried. But here are the words of Do-han, who mean it, wanted to find the murderer, MG. Soli was a little relieved and promised to help him, although it was rejected by Do-han because it was too dangerous. Until when Do-han, who was looking for instructions about Do-han was visited by Chan's younger brother named Jae Chan. The goal is to ask Do-han for money because his business is ruined. At first, Do-han was busy looking for clues about MJ, refused Jekin's request. But when Jekin told about him knowing if MJ used to always get bullied from his father and was always forced to give money, Do-han also gave money and immediately said goodbye to Soli. Went to the village where he used to live with MG, D-chan and Gay-chan to find clues about M in a different place. When Kang-min will bring Hong to the prison, suddenly Hongi said to Kang-min if he had a notebook about all the information that he gathered this about his sister's death, where after reading Hong's notebook, Kang-min felt something was off, because it says if there was an eyewitness, but never questioned anything by the police commander, which it turned out to be, it is related to his mother. He secretly asked the police commander to solve the problem because they feel if Da is indeed an Amzi killer, which is its purpose only to keep its good name, while Do-han, who is looking for clues about MG in his village first, I couldn't find anything because everyone he met thought if Do-han is the murderer, as the media reports. Do-han could only ponder because he could not find any clues, until when God is contemplating Kamsul, he made God happy in the middle of the shinsak he was experiencing. With the help of Soli, who can detect lies, you can easily find clues, until he got to a bank where MJ used to work, where one of the employees told if MGI's father is so depraved because before MGI's death, his father MGI registered MGI's death insurance as if his father had been planning to kill But the insurance money is not liquid because MJ was declared bunder all this time. But after police officers managed to found MGI's body that was allegedly murdered, his father also got MGI's death insurance money. Hearing that, Do-han and So Lee are increasingly suspicious if MGI's father was the murderer. Until after searching here and there, Do-han and So Lee managed to find MGI's father's location is now in a gambling place. But when it comes in, Do-han and So Lee were immediately intercepted because they were not members. But suddenly, So Hee reunites with the head of the thugs. He used to help let him in because the place belongs to the head of the thugs. Where when inside, Download with a very emotional, immediately questioned MGI's father about his involvement while drunk. MGI's father also said if he even hopes MJ died because he wanted to get insurance money, but he didn't kill MJ at all, and suspects someone for always tailing him, which happens to be people it was there, and none other is Jakan, his younger brother where Jakan, who saw God directly, the devil ran away. The god trickery Prosi chased until with the help of Chief Raymond. They also caught up with feel cornered. Jakan also claimed to be NG's dark girlfriend, made Do-han a little provoked. But So Hee says if what Jakan said was a lie, Jakan then ran away again, but this time not chased by knowing that Jae-chan will definitely meet Chan's brother. While Kang Min, who is also looking for clues using notes, Onj was able to meet with witnesses who claimed to have seen the incident, where the witness said that he had reported what he saw the last time he saw MG before it was declared missing, which is when MG is by the sea and approached by a man wearing a Korean national team jersey. But his testimony wasn't even considered by the police commander. Make Kang Min wonder even more, because I felt something was wrong in the case of MG death. While now seeing God who met Dek-chan to say if chances are Ji-chan is a MG killer. But Dek-chan even behaved differently by trying to defend his sister, make Do-han feel there's something that Dae-chan has been hiding all this time. And when the night, Kang Min also gave a message inviting him to meet, where Kang Min said if he almost finds a clue that might make Do-han able to have alibi if Do-han is innocent. Make Do-han ask why Kang Min, who is my, instead did all that. Kang Min then answered if he does it all, it's not for him, but for So Hee, because he didn't. I want to see So Lee sad if Do-han is found guilty. Until the next day, Kang Min, who was still trying to find clues, he was contacted by the police commander who used to have his boss, where the commander's accusations because of him, I want to give you the ring found in Andy's body. While admitting his guilt for covering up, the murder case was at the behest of his mother, Don, who is afraid his political image is ruined if Do-han is indeed the murderer. With that hard evidence, Kang Min then looked for the ring maker to find out the owner, since the ring's owner is likely MGI's killer. After searching here and there, Kang Min also managed to find the shop that made the ring, where from the shop owner's statement, if the ring is the exact same as the ring the couple ordered by Do-han first, but there's a little bit different because the ring, this is bigger than the ring that Do-han used to order. After that, Kang Min then met Do-han to ask directly if this ring belonged to him. The man who saw the ring did not know it at all, because according to Do-han, he threw his ring into the sea when he last met with MG. See So Hyun give code E. What Do-han said just now was honestly, Kang Min then said, if it's likely that MGI's killer was someone close to Do, it makes Do-han even more sure that the person is Gaika. But Kang Min said, if now their job is to find strong evidence, whatever it is that can give up the Kaken to be punished. Because if it's not done, then Jaken will only be questioned, because it happened a long time ago and no witnesses saw the case. With MG, there's no other choice. Do-han then said, if he would be a solely client to hire his services, detect lies, Dae-chan, up to all questions leading to Jae-chan's involvement were answered, lead by to by Chan's deck, strangeness ensued when Chan said if his sister had surrendered herself to the police station, even though it is good news. Because now all the media coverage about the ugliness, the download has been withdrawn. But So Hee feel there was something odd about all of Derchan's words, because Derchan doesn't seem to feel sad his sister will be imprisoned, and is more focused on his work. But the suspicion is not told to God, because now God is happy because he feels the problem is solved, as well as Hwang Min, who feels the same way with So Hyun, because it feels if the guilty person could not be as calm as Ji-chan right now, and suddenly Ji-chan has a ring belonging to NG which he uses as a causes as treatment if he is the NG killer. For that, Hwang Min, I asked Soli to come meet Ji-chan directly to detect the lies that Ji-chan hided, where his soul seen meeting Gay-chan, who was Nyantai in his cell, with his ability to detect other people's lies. Soli also tried to ask Gay-chan a question, where originally Ji-chan tries to dodge all Soli questions by confessing if the ring, it was his because of jealousy to see the only one wearing it, couple rings with MG, but So Hyun already experienced for several years and thing of lies that someone is trying to hide, with a little trick and also a gimmick, able to make Ji-chan mentally exposed. Until finally Gi-chan said everything if her brother is the murderer of M and evidence. MGI's ring that he brought was actually given by feeling still lacking evidence. Soli kept persuading Sichan to say, is there any other evidence that could drag Chan's deck? You feel awful? Gi-chan also said if in his brother's office there was other evidence that his brother couldn't later refute. For that, Soli immediately rushed go to the office of Chan to find the evidence that Yechin mentioned. Upon arrival, Soli then called Do-han and said everything. Do-han, who just found out, it immediately hurriedly went there because it was worried about Soli, where Chan, who saw Soli, came out of his room with something straight after Soli to snatch that evidence. Until Song-hee also detected the honesty of Dek-chen when he said, will surrender after giving the company to create Song. He was confused and asked why Dek-chan did that. Dekan then confessed if he is a home ring who has always had feelings for Do, and without Dekan realizing it. God heard this, made Dik-chan embarrassed and immediately ran away. So he and God then chased Chan's deck up on the street. Dekan had to have a car accident. Which one in that moment? Do-han and also Hwang Min, who are trying to save instead let Soli alone and got too close to Dekan's car that rolled over. Until because a gasoline leak made the car explode near Soli. Worried God and took him straight to the hospital. Luckily, it turns out So Hee. It's fine and no body parts are injured. So he then told Do-han to stay in the hospital to wait. Dik-chan is aware because Soli knows if Do-han is very curious about everything that happened until when Dik-chan regained consciousness. Do-han then asked about everything to Dek-chan, where Dek-chan also told if what he heard was true. If he really likes Do-han and always felt jealous when Do-han was with M until it was realized by MG and threatened to tell Do-han about it. Dik-chan was so scared that he accidentally killed MG, but for fear that Do-han would be blamed for his actions. Dik-chan also deliberately manipulated Angi's death as if and always carry a ring, Angie and clothes belonging to Angie if what he fears happens, which is Do-han being a murder suspect, and he would surrender himself with all the evidence he kept. Do-han, who heard it, then understood, then say goodbye as a friend because I won't see you again. Long story short, the problem was finally finished, and the good name of Do-han was recovered, where the media is now turning to preach the goodness of Do-han. This made Do-han even more popular. While Soli now feels something is off, when he can't detect, to be honest or not, someone he heard. Even now, the client who hired him was even disappointed, because Soli can't detect other people's lies. Makes Soli feel uncertain. Because on the other hand, he is now a normal person, But on the other, he felt like he had lost something special. But the God who knows it keeps encouraging his beloved, because according to God, it's not what doesn't matter to him, because he will still love So Lee. With or not, So Lee has that special ability. Hearing such sweet words, So Lee was immediately flowery, because it's lucky to have the same guy. Exactly like a Bray continued. In the meantime, his mother So Lee, who is famous for money, surprised when she saw her ex-husband So Lee's father be a jungle vlog YouTuber like Deepening, which is where the viewer is so much watched by people. Even the TV media has reported about So Lee's father. Make this mother feel supported and want to reconcile with his father So Lee. You're still bragging though. Well, the lucky Ji-hoon, I can meet my favorite idol C, who now seems to have started to move on from Do-han and became interested in Ji-hoon. Because Ji-hoon is always there when he needs help. Then the scene moved to the sad boy Hwang Min, where he is now trying to move on from his love to So Lee. Even Hwang Min dared to say that to So Lee, at the same time saying goodbye, because maybe he won't see So Lee again, to quickly heal his heart. So Lee, who knows if Hwang Min is a very good man. I can only pray for Hwang Min to find a good woman, and can love Hwang Min. So Lee's happiness then increased after his old mother, when he was crazy about money, slowly starting to turn into good, where So Hee, who knows if her father still loves her mother, trying to match them both again. Although it's not easy, because his mother is very prestigious and pretentious modern, while his father now enjoys his life in the forest being widow. But the husband, who wants to see his family whole again, then persuaded his father to want to change her appearance so that her mother can return to up to his father's new appearance. Her mother couldn't believe her appearance, her very different ex-husband. But even so, his mother solely still trying, lying by not acknowledging his heart, until it even triggers the special ability of So Lee again, where he is back and detects someone's lies. And when about to tell all her mother's lies about her feelings, Suki was surprised when his father very gentle hugged his mother for being sensitive towards someone's feelings. Sanji was happy because he could see his father and his mother reconciled, and also being able to learn something. If one must be sensitive to one's feelings, while Do-han was always away from his mother, now that I'm no longer busy as a counsel, his mother came to bless his relationship with Suli because his mother had known it for a long time. He thanked her for her happiness. By his mother, happiness is increasing because new music project with Yoongi, and also Etain, her brother, is well received by society. Even the song he composed that was Sangitan in his debut instantly became trending #1, until, because of that, Do-han again earned an award as a composer, as well as the best songmaker, where unlike the old days that Sion always represented, now Do-han, who has found happiness because of the presence of he dared to appear in public and did not hide his identity on the stage. He was grateful for all the opportunities, and also the award given to him. Shin then moved to Seo, and also Ji-hyun, who is now their relationship is getting closer, even like dating people. After that, Shin moved back to So Lee, who saw his mother and father live happily, and now it has a cafe in the forest that sells because the concept blends with nature. After that, as usual, Do-han and also So Lee always stay up late, not to do strange things, but to watch their favorite football. Shin then closed with Do-han, who proposed So Lee by giving a pretty ring to So Lee. And long story short, the two of them were traveling on their honeymoon